future? ¿Y quién es el papá?
That's not important.
Oh, Wendy, let me hold your baby.
Oh, could you put your cigarette out first?
Mi cigarrillo.
You dropped the cigarrillo in my baby's mouth? ¿Qué pasa contigo?
When people look at me, all they see is a damn felon, not some culinary artist.
Food sculpting.
What?
Food sculpting. That's what you were trying to do.
Yeah, until you had a damn piss parade all over my masterpiece.
Listen. If you want to leave, you can leave. But if you want to stay, you have a place here.
Hello? Is this where the auditions for the beautiful magician's job is at? Do you know where this is being held at?
Hey,
Hi.
I'm Leah. What are you doing there all alone?
Just waiting for you.
Been waiting for you to get home all day.
Is that so?
And now it's time for me to take care of you.
All right, I think it's time you both should know. Stephen and I are splitting up. Yeah. He's having an affair. And let me tell you how stupid I am, okay? I had myself convinced that everything was fine. That it was just a small chapter, not the whole book. And if I just put the old blinders on and went about my business, everything would work itself out. Bullshit.
Balanced and wise you are, or how I can't express myself.
Come on, darling.
And do not say my darling to me one more time, because if you say it one more time, I'm going to lose it. Listen to me. I don't need to love you for me to prove that I love myself. Okay. Listen, I think that the only reason people ask me to plan their weddings is because I'm really good at organizing things. I mean, I don't really have female friends, okay? I was building a life. Gave me for leaving.
13 people are indicted. We traveled the world together.
So what? You're getting time off for every innocent person you threw under the bus? Tony, what's going on with George?
As far as?
He's sick, isn't he? He's got some radiation poisoning.
Where did you get that?
Hazmat all over the warehouse he raided this morning. It's gotta be hot, right? I mean, I was just working with him and his nose started bleeding, and that was after Chappelle told me that he was throwing up all morning. And it doesn't take a doctor to figure that out. Besides, I can read it all over.
Hello. Welcome to This Is Your Spotlight with your host, the lovely me. And who is me? Eurydice Roman. And I am here with somebody who is just absolutely fantastic and fabulous. And if you don't know her and you're living under a rock, I'm so sorry. I'm going to shake that rock away from you and come out of where you have to go with the lovely, divine, hardworking, on time, Miss YaYa Vargas. Welcome to the show.
Hello, friends.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Yuri.
Hello.
Nice to see you, birthday twin.
Yes. YaYa and I share a birthday. I was
June 23rd.
June 23rd, of course. And I also found out it was funny. This year I found out I have more birthday twins. I was like, seriously? So yeah, I was just like, okay, cool. And it's funny because I'm cool with them and I've met them in person and like one person I interviewed, and I found out, I said, oh, snap, you and I have the same birthday. Cool. That's why we gelled in our interview. And then the other person was, she participated in a podcast that I did. Shout out to the New York City Indie Podfest. I did it at the Producers Club, and I'm going to do it again this year. But that's for another topic for another time. So, well, let's see. YaYa does a lot.
I do a few things.
She doesn't sprinkle here, sprinkle there.
I think the way that it ties together, that I've recently, maybe in the last year or two, have decided how to explain what it is that I do.
Mhm.
I guess I just lost it, because as I was about to say it, I was like, well, that sounds ridiculous. And you know what? It's my truth. I entertain with a microphone in my hand, whether it's singing, whether it's hosting, being a ring mistress, podcasting. I entertain with a mic in my hand. So that's my job. I'm a microphone holder.
Nah, you're a little more than that. You're multifaceted. So that's what
Yeah.
I consider you multifaceted.
Yeah, I mean, getting nominated for a Grammy, I guess that's okay. But
Oh yeah, casi nada.
yeah, it's fine. And being in pursuit of the next nomination and
Yes, and doing a great
winning
rock
one day,
tour.
but
And doing
the
a great
most
rock
important
tour.
thing is being in the process of doing the things, and whoever recognizes us will recognize us when it's time to recognize us.
No, exactly. Like I've gone, like when you put stuff up, as you've seen, I give you some love, and I say, "Oh, my birthday twin's doing her dang thing," and
Thank
people look at
you.
me like, "Really?" I'm like, you don't understand. You're not in it, so okay."
It's totally
Listen.
fun. I in the last 2 or 3 years, I've been focusing more on what makes me happy over trying to let people keep up with what it is that I've been doing. Like I don't even post on my wall unless it's like a big announcement. Like I don't even post TBT. I lost my Instagram page early 2022. The Instagram page that I had since 2012, since Instagram started, it got hacked. I lost all my followers, which was like about 13,000 people from all over the world, and I was grateful for them. And then I lost my page, and I was in a process at the time of being like, wanting to be seen less, that I was not in a hurry to try to get followers again, to try to put up the thirst traps I used to put on and all that. Or even putting up music. I save everything for my stories, and whoever sees it, sees it. Whoever doesn't. I don't know how I got to this point.
I would say that's like a reset. It gives you a chance
I
to
did a reset.
and renew.
Yeah. When I lost the page, I took it as a reset and was like, okay, let's do less for the gram and more for my own fulfillment. And one of those things is still singing. I just booked my first regional Broadway theater show after not having done musical theater in 20 years. Well, on a stage. If you ask any of my friends, my life is musical theater because I'm always singing and prancing around. But professionally, it was a big accomplishment to be able to book my first regional theater show, and I'm excited to do more.
Yeah. So how did that come about? Like what?
Well, I got cast as Gloria Fajardo, playing the mom of Gloria Estefan in her musical On Your Feet. I auditioned for this show back in 2021 with a professor from my college, City College, shout out CCNY.
Go Beavers.
So yes, go Beavers. And my professor was doing the choreography for this production in 2021. I auditioned, but I wasn't fully prepared, and I was also very much in my head. But I really wanted this role, and also I was still kind of young to play a 48-year-old. At 2021, I had just turned 41, and I still look 30 something-ish. So anyway, fast forward, that same professor told me that auditions were coming up for the Florida Vero Beach production. and that I should audition. I hired him as my audition coach. That was the difference between this time and last. I hired someone to help me with the audition. We did like 3 sessions, and because I was prepared, I got to audition, and luckily I knew the choreographer who recommended me for the audition. I'd like to think I earned my spot, but if it weren't for her recommendation, I probably wouldn't have been able to get through the door because everyone else that was cast is equity or union somehow. I don't have an agent. I don't have a manager. I went, I auditioned, and thankfully I got it.
Wow. That's great though.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of why I personally couldn't do the acting. Because I just, because I have RSD, which is rejection sensitivity dysphoria. And it's pretty tough. That is basically when a person has attention deficit hyper disorder and they have like super negative backtalk, and it's almost to the point that you would like, it could lead to almost suicide ideation. It's like you can't accept the rejection. You can't take the constructive criticism because then you start like tearing at yourself.
Where do you think that stems from?
I have no idea.
You personally, where do you think that stems from? Because I can tell you where mine stems from.
Well, honestly, I wish I can tell you it was more like easier to tell you, but growing up with this, and that's why I think like when somebody says, "Oh, I can't make it," okay, like I've just, I just at that point when I hear like I'm expecting the person to let me down, it's gotten to that point. It's like, you can let me down, it's fine. And then like you're so calm about it. I'm like, yeah, but internally,
Are you calm
like,
about it though, or does it ruminate and it's like, well, why did they cancel? Was it something I said? Was it something I did? Did they find out did they want to do something better than was with hanging out with me or talking to me? Like there's a difference between letting it go, but but then at the same time internally going down the rabbit hole. So
right. I like to say for me, like, I never like, for example, like my birthday just passed. Our birthday just passed. So I had my birthday at Dallas BBQ. So I
love that. Honey wings. Thank you. Honey wings.
Honey wings, honey wings. I got the pulled pork sliders, so that was pretty good.
Yummy.
So I invited my dad, my 3 younger siblings, my grammar school friend, my high school friend, and 2 coworkers. I invited all these people. All these people said they were going to show up. I kid you not, yeah, literally until I got to the restaurant, I was thoroughly convinced que nadie se iba a aparecer. No one's going to show up. Everybody's just going to be, yeah, sure, whatever. I was convincing myself like, well, I bought this cake. I have my son at least. And, if I sit here on the table by myself, so be it.
Preparing for the worst.
Exactly. So I think that's part of it. And I guess, being Caribbean is just like, sí, yo voy ahí, sí, como no. You're like, are you really? Are you sure about that?
So I don't want to say Mommy, hola, saludo.
Oh, yes. Hold on for a second.
No worries.
Hold on. Okay, here we go. So we left off about my lovely
RSD.
About RSD.
Yes.
Rejection sensitivity dysphoria. So
and I was going to explain to you where I can tell you where it stems from with me, if that's okay.
No, go ahead, please, by all means.
So I used to prepare for the worst. I used to expect people to disappoint me all the time. I used to think, but then I realized that the reason why I expected people to disappoint me and why I prepared for the worst is partly due to me thinking that I don't deserve good things. I don't deserve people to show up for me. I don't deserve to get the job. I don't deserve to get the audition. And when I would think back to where those feelings started, I grew up in a household where
Mhm.
our minds, it's generational trauma
Oh,
that
yeah.
the adults in our lives, they grew up thinking, especially like my mother didn't finish junior high school. She's from Dominican Republic. She married at 16 to a man that was 15 years older than her. Her first two marriages, she got cheated on. The person she got married, she got pregnant from, which was my sperm donor, tells her that he's married with a family in Puerto Rico. Oops, sorry, you're gonna have to raise this child on your own. And then for my mother to have a stroke when I was 7 years old, she was 48, and then seeing her give up on her life, that all stems from I don't deserve it. I don't deserve nice things. Why even work hard for it if I'm just gonna get rejected and everyone's gonna let me down? There comes a point where that kind of thinking needs to intentionally be addressed, or else we'll never have nice things, or else we'll never strive for better, and we'll just be complacent because the people that we saw growing up settled and didn't talk nice to themselves, and so they don't talk nice to themselves, so that must be normal, that must be what we're supposed to do. No, at
No,
some
it's not.
point I had to break the cycle, and my breaking the cycle came in waves throughout my life where like people see me, yeah, I auditioned for stuff and I got parts and I've been nominated for awards, but that didn't come easy. That didn't come with 100% confidence. That came with months of me being like, I'm a horrible singer, I am nothing, to one day being like, you know what, I should try this opportunity and see where it goes.
Mhm.
Oh, this worked out. But then I used to do the self-sabotage and be like, do I really deserve this? And imposter syndrome kicks in, and it's like a vicious cycle. And 2021, after that breakup, it took me like a year and a half to reach this point that I'm at now. Now I'm going on 3 years.
Well, I think you're doing
All
spectacular, honestly, considering
I
all the
I'm
things you've
doing
done.
okay. I'm doing pretty okay, but
Yeah.
I've been doing okay my whole life. And then when things are great, I used to find a way to sabotage it. Like even my birthday. Like just when I thought, oh, okay, therapy worked. I'm healing. I reparented myself and I'm evolving into the woman that I wish would have raised me. I'm becoming that woman that I wish I would have seen as a role model growing up. There has to be a point where we have to be those role models for ourselves, because I
Mhm.
spent my whole life blaming my mother and my other caretakers, and it's like, yeah, it gets to a point where I had to realize she did the best she could because she went through some shit. I'm not gonna forget. I'm gonna hold on to it because it tortured me for 41 years of my life.
Right.
But I have to release that blame if I want to if I want to grow as a person, because you can't teach an old dog new tricks,
No, absolutely not. No.
especially if they don't want to. So I forgot where I was going with it, but yeah, and the day before our birthday, I thought I was fine. I'm in the first happy, healthy relationship I've ever had in my whole life.
Congrats.
With a thank you, with a good guy. He's great head on his shoulders. We've known each other for over 20 years. But we started dating 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, seriously. And I almost had a mental breakdown before my birthday
Oh.
because I fell into old patterns. To repeat, my mother got pregnant at the age of 41 to a man who had a family in Puerto Rico, and she didn't find out about it until she told him she was pregnant with me. From there, from birth, I already felt like I didn't belong. I was unwanted.
Oh.
Nobody wants me. Nobody loves me. And so every birthday, for some reason, I carried around those feelings of my worth is shit. I don't belong here. Can I really sing? Am I really talented? Are people really complimenting me because they mean it or because they think that's what I want to hear? And so I was fine. Maybe birthday 2023, 2022, I was fine those birthdays. I was single 2022, not single 2023, and I was fine. But for some reason, this birthday, like you said, those negative thoughts in the back of your head, they come out and they say, they come back with those things. And it's like, I had to remind myself after a crying fit, we don't think like that anymore. We don't think that way about ourselves anymore. We like ourselves now. We're doing okay. The world is not ending over here. There might be chaos and ridiculousness and war happening outside, but over here we're okay. But for 5 hours the day before my birthday, I feel bad for my boyfriend, and he was a champ. He was like, "Come here, you just need a hug," and that's really all I needed. Baby YaYa just needed a hug. That's it.
Let's see. I think that's a really good description. For me, it was just like like I said, once everybody showed up and everybody was, there gathered and having a good time and talking amongst themselves. And I think I was fine. As long as people, when people kept their word and they showed up, if they showed up late, I was grateful. I was not like, oh my God, how could you? Yo te invité a tal hora.
Yeah.
I
I
didn't.
hate when people do that to me, because sometimes I change my mind. Sometimes I'm in a mood. Sometimes I wake up sad. Sometimes I have a migraine. And sometimes I flake. I used to flake and do the ghosting thing and not tell, I'll be there, and then not show up. And then I learned that, like, no, that fucking sucks. It sucks more than saying, like, you know what, I'm not going to make it today. But then the guilt sets in of like, fuck, I'm disappointing this person. So ya yo no salgo. Yo no salgo, yo no invito a nadie, yo no hago nada. Yo me quedo en mi casa. If I'm booked for something, I go do the thing and I come back home. That's it.
And that's funny because, because we're planners. We love to plan. If I didn't plan it, and then it's going to be a 50-50. And again, once I get in the mood or in a headspace that it's like, I planned it. I got to go through it. Let's go through the motions. Let's get through it. Let's push through. I didn't plan it. It's not my thing per se. How great of a friend am I? Or like, do I really want to be outside? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. And if the don't comes up a lot more than the do, then it's like, love you. I'll send you a text message. We'll plan for something that I want to do eventually. It's like,
And it's
leave me a
nothing,
message. I might
a
not
lot
call
of
you
times
back.
it's not, yeah, a lot of times it's nothing personal.
Yeah.
I'm at a point where I've really isolated myself from people. Like people like that during the pandemic, it was el compinche, me hanging out with a certain group of people all the time. You saw them, you saw me, you saw me, you saw them. And then it got to a point where like I needed to work on things on myself that didn't involve these people. And when I pulled myself out of hanging out with them or being of service to them, I noticed that more and more distance grew between me and these people while I was working on myself. And not to say that maybe, because again, we could get into the negative headspace of being like, thinking of all the reasons why there's distance. I left to work on myself. We drifted apart. It's okay. If I see you somewhere, I'm hoping and I'm praying that we kick it off. Like if no time has passed, and then we go our separate ways again. That's the kind of friend I am. I'm not the friend that's gonna call you every single day. I'm not the kind of that's not me. I'm not that friend. There were people that I was trying to do that with, and then I realized that I was just saying yes to too many things.
Yes.
And spreading myself thin, overwhelming myself, and not giving myself time to recharge. I think I've finally mastered the art of letting go of that shame and guilt of, well, am I a good? No, this is the kind of friend I am. This is all I can give. This is all my ADHD empathic self can give.
Yes.
And I no longer feel shame for it. I'm very nice to you. I don't talk shit about you. I have no ill will towards you, but I'm not gonna be up your ass. And I don't expect anybody to be up mine either. That's why
Exactly.
I don't plan birthday parties. I don't plan get-togethers because I'm all about peace. I'm all about my peace. I can't.
Protect your peace. Yes, protect
I
your peace.
can't deal with the messy.
Carajo.
I can't deal with the. I can't.
Nope. So, all right. So you said you got nominated for a Grammy and you're seeking to get nominated for another one. Congrats
Yeah.
on the nomination period.
Yeah, well, thankfully that was with my time with DLG.
Yeah.
I don't know
Dark
if you're
Latin
familiar
Groove
with
for those of you who
Dark
don't know.
Latin Groove. Yes, I was a huge fan of theirs when I was growing up, and then to them be the lead singer of the group in 2007 on, huge blessing. It's the kind of music I always saw myself doing, which was a salsa fusion with reggae, funk, and all kinds of stuff, which I also do in my solo music. And yeah, we were nominated in 2009, and I had to request for the weekend off at my day job to go to the Grammys, and yeah.
So that's fantastic. So
Mhm.
talk about you said you do a nonprofit, it's a circus, and you're like the mistress.
Yes, the ring mistress. So I, during the end of the pandemic in 2022, um, Calixto, shout out to Calixto, the founder of the Latino Film Festival. He recommended me to the circus that was looking for a ring mistress. It's a circus that's been around for over 30 years, based out of Brooklyn, New York. And it's called the Bindlestiff Family Circus. They're a nonprofit organization. And during the pandemic, because people couldn't leave their houses and venues were shut down, all kinds of entertainment were closed and shut down during the pandemic, they started during the summer of 2021 doing free circus shows throughout New York City. They partnered with the Department of Transportation and local community organizations to put on circus shows for kids and their parents throughout the streets of New York. So they partner with a local organization to shut down the street for the day or for half the day. We set up a stage, there's clowns, there's aerialists, there's sword swallowers, and then there's me, the ring mistress, that introduces all the acts and gets the crowd involved. It's hosting. It's a hosting gig, which is another thing I studied in college, which is hosting television and radio media. And so I'm putting my college degree to work as a ring mistress for the Department of Transportation in New York City.
Oh, wow.
Sounds crazy, but it's my truth.
It's not. It's not too much of a stretch. So, okay.
It's that people want to put you in a box.
Yes.
A lot of times. And then when they see you doing something else, they're like, oh, you do this now? And it's like, yeah. Are you only still doing that now? Like, why is it such a stretch for people to want to do other things? I don't get it.
I'm gonna tell you, I get that a lot. And again, as an adult woman with ADHD, and I was diagnosed at 7. So, growing up with it, my interests vary. That's why it's like hard for me to stay still because I know I've learned how to do a myriad of things to keep myself stimulated, to keep myself out there.
That's what it boils down to, keeping ourselves stimulated. Because there are a lot of people, us included, that if we do the same thing for too long, we get bored or our energy into it lacks. So sometimes we need to put this down and come over here and do this thing. And it's not much of a stretch if we're holding microphones. I'm just holding a microphone over here. And I'm holding a microphone over here with salsa. And I'm holding a microphone over here with musical theater.
No, exactly. And honestly, personally, and I'm very happy that I learned how to do media. I'm grateful that, the television show, and now I'm doing podcasting, and I hosted a fundraiser, and which is great.
It's
And,
all the thread is hosting for you. The thread is hosting, event planning, putting things.
Oye, uno viene de la nada cogiendo lucha por 400 y 500 dólares semanal. Y estos carajitos, por más cuartos que tú le des, no tienen llenadera.
Bueno, no paran entonces.
París, si fuera París no fuera nada.